Welcome to the Trailhead, where trails start and stories unfold.
One, two, three.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Now here's JD.
In this episode, Alyssa and I talk with our special guest Erica from Slow Burn Offroad for an off-road adventure that goes beyond the usual trail talk. This isn't just a conversation about the vehicles that carry us, it's about the journeys they enable and the stories they create. Erica shares her transition from the corporate grind to becoming the driving force behind Slow Burn Offroad, blazing trails for women in the off-road community and championing environmental education and responsibility. But it's not all trail maps and traction. Expect to hear tales filled with laughter, especially the story behind Erica's nickname, Three Beers, and the comedic challenges of camping with dogs in rooftop tents. We'll also take a forward-looking approach, pondering the role of autonomous technology in off-roading and what it means for our shared passion and community. From solo wheeling safety tips to leveraging social media for brand promotion and connecting enthusiasts, this episode celebrates the off-road lifestyle and the blend of adventure, camaraderie, innovation, and advocacy that fuels it. Dive with us off the beaten path to discover the heart of the off-roading community with Erica and Slow Burn Offroad. Welcome to the Trailhead. Stories. This is why we have editing. Everything that you have ever heard on a video podcast is a lie. Welcome to the Trailhead. Where stories start and where the trails start and stories unfold. Forget it. I'll edit it in later. All right. How you doing, Erica? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so very happy to be here.
We also have our guest host, Alyssa, is joining us today. We have not seen you in a while. How you doing, Alyssa?
How are you?
I'm doing all right. I got my Jeep back. I'm still reveling in that. So
yeah, everyone's getting their cars back.
I know. Pope posted today that he got it. They're at the show with Misfit. And, just the amount of stuff that they had done to that Jeep in a short period of time. Like there's armor, there's new coils that they had powder coated. There's a lot of stuff in there. So it'll be, it's nice to get back out on the trail. We went out, over the weekend and I got a little bit of mud, and it was good. Had one little clunk, one little noise. We took it back and found a loose bolt on the geolocation bracket, and then they tightened that up today. And so if my ABS lights go out and finally turn off, then I'm gold. We'll see how that goes.
What your model Jeep have you got?
I have a 2015 Jeep JK. Okay. I love it. It's got 135,000 miles on it and a Mopar lifetime warranty, so I'm never getting rid of it.
Nice.
And I just listeners to this show will know that I spent a good 6 months just arguing about if it was totaled or not. And, the insurance company finally just got it taken care of, and it wasn't total. It was a good bill. I got a new axle and a bunch of new stuff, but it was better. So, I'm just glad to get back on the trail. We're going to go out on a run or two maybe in Vegas if I can convince Jen. Well, maybe we'll see. I will see how that goes. What are you driving, Erica?
I drive a 2021 Ford Bronco Big Bend with Sasquatch package. So I put a lot of...
Oh, big boy.
Yeah. Well, it's a two-door, so it's not really a big boy, but I modeled it after my
I
74
love two doors.
Yeah, I love that
Yes.
short wheel articulation. It's a lot of fun unless you're trying to go over a big crack. But yeah, I put a lot of work into it and made it sweet for me, for the things that I do anyway.
That's something that we champion a lot here is we give Alyssa crap because she's got a Toyota.
I love
but
Toyota.
she overlands. Yeah, exactly. She overlands and it's a different beast for her. And I love my two-door. I love my short wheelbase and the ability to get in and out. And when I try to step out of that, like I tried to rent a four-door Gladiator last year and it did not go well.
Yeah.
It's too big, too long.
Mine. I have a rooftop tent on mine and I overland in mine. I originally slept in
Okay.
the of it, which was kind of tight. But then, yeah, I put a great roof rack on it, and I've got a Free Spirit Recreation tent on it. It's really light, so when I wheel, it doesn't kind of make it swing one way or the other. And it's just a clamshell kind,
Nice.
but it's perfect just for me. It sucks my dogs can't get up
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the back. Yeah, it didn't matter.
I'm sure you could try to figure out some sort of pulley rig system, but
They're
yeah, I
100
don't know. I
pound
don't know how
dogs.
you would work that.
Well, it's a
What kind of
full-size
dogs do
German
you have?
Shepherd and a full-size Husky. They both weigh probably 80 to 100 pounds piece. I'm
Oh
not.
boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
not lifting those
you're
guys
right.
up there.
Oh no, see, I was
Mm-mm.
like, you were right with pulley system. You can't.
I need
No, at that point you need more than a pulley system. Yeah, you're talking electric winch just to bring them into the tent, and then if they got to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. It's all over.
And it's not just them, it's me too. That's the only thing I don't like about a rooftop tent is those middle of the night nature calls and having to, you know,
Yeah,
climb down the stairs. Yeah, good times.
I don't like them as a human.
Baffled.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Actually, so we're gonna, Alyssa, I think you saw we are gonna have a pet expert on too. So, we're gonna have somebody. Yeah, we wanted to. We're all dog people here, Erica.
Nice. Yeah.
Pope and Randy have dogs. I know that there is a dog present in Jason's house that Lily likes. I'm not sure that Jason does. So,
Really likes.
I'm just.
Yeah, it's accurate.
Mine are both watching me through the door here. I've got a husky who wants to come in and make a comment. He wants to be on TV and radio and all that good stuff. He's a loud boy.
So I have you in my ear here, and if your dog were to do that, my dog who's laying next to me in protest of being locked in the office with me would immediately be on me, because that happened with Pope and Randy's dog. He started barking and my dog was just like, he was on, like, how do you hear that? You can't, it's in my ear. It's not even like a headphone or anything. It was amazing.
Wow.
So yeah, but we are all pet people in this group. So,
Cool.
it is awesome. I think, Alyssa, I think that should be a regular question for our guests now. Do you have a pet, and
What?
exactly how much of your bed do they take up?
Well, we have
Uh-huh.
wheeling puppies too. So my shepherd, she loves to go wheeling with me all the time, but my husky will not do. He won't have it.
Really?
Really?
I had a golden retriever that didn't really care for it. And then my wife had a dog, a Saint Bernard Black Lab mix, and I think he just didn't like it because he was too big. He couldn't really stand in the back. This guy loves it. He was out there. I posted a video where he is just going ham on a tree, and he was having a great day. Oh, he wants to kill all of the trees in the forest. All of them must die. They offended him somehow, and I'm actually pretty convinced that he tried to bite a tree one time and it stung him, and he has been vindictive ever since. But
It stung him. Huh.
like he had like prickles in his mouth because it was one of those types of those types of needles. So
Gotcha.
it was he had a long day that day. We should get into talking about our guests and her guides and her trail guides. So.
Yes.
And your dog, so I'm sure we'll talk about the dog. I'm sure at some point those dogs are going to speak up and refuse to be locked outside any longer.
Yeah, they're staring me down right now.
I feel that. It's all protest. It's all protest all day long. So, all right. Well, welcome, Eric. Eric is with Slow Burn Offroad. You are here in Conifer. Is that what I read?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Home base for sure.
Erica, you run a business called Slow Burn Offroad. Give us a breakdown of what Slow Burn is.
Well, about a year and a half ago, I decided to quit the corporate world. I was a
Nice.
global director of operations for a pretty high up company. I spent most of my life traveling, but I kind of did that because I had, the kids at home. My girls are all now out of the house, and I'm a grandmother. And I finally decided that, I had enough friends and family and leads to just kind of make it a full-time business. I sold my home, paid off all my bills, paid off all my mama's bills, gave my kids some money.
Nice.
I know, right?
Yeah. That sounds like a dream. Yeah, for a lot of people.
Well, it's today's real estate market that kind of made it possible.
Good point.
Planning ahead. So yeah,
Yep.
I just kind of I jumped to it. I just risked everything, and I'm still risking a lot. I mean, it's tough work out there, but I decided I wanted to focus on what makes me happy. And what makes me happy is being outside, being off road, teaching people, how to be environmentally sympathetic and mechanically sympathetic, and just all around be little badasses out there, especially the ladies, and that kind of just fell into me because I'm not really a feminist, but being in this world since I was little, I kind of saw a lot of stuff, and empowering these women, because it's really, really taken off, is kind of
Mm-hmm.
become part of my business model, and I absolutely love it. So I take not only women, but I take people out on trail rides that come in through Denver, and they want to go see the sand dunes, and they want to camp, but they're just not sure where to go, or they have a rig that's not capable, and I teach them how to drive that rig or their car or whatever.
Yeah.
It's adventure. It's adventure. I
Yeah.
kind of go with the flow. Do a lot of
That's
marketing
awesome.
for the outdoor industry businesses, like a company that I work for sells roto packs and max tracks and roam stuff, and so I do all of their social media for them, and I do a lot of test driving. Some people got some big rigs, with the 7.3 Godzilla swap, and they wanted to take it to Hell's Revenge, and so they hire me to drive one of those rigs. It's
Nice.
fucking awesome. It's just awesome.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, like that seems like, again, we're in dream space for me, if I'm
I
being
know,
100%
yeah.
honest. Like that's pretty, like you just get the opportunity just to kind of wheel and go out there and show people some of the awesome stuff that we get to see, when we go on a weekend with the vehicles that we own already.
Right.
And I'm sure that you take other people out that have vehicles that aren't just out of towners from Denver or anything like that. But it's nice to see and hear. Alyssa's part of the reason Alyssa is here is because when I started the show, I was like, we need to have more women voices, because you guys are out there.
Yeah.
We see you. We need more women voices, and so it's really awesome to kind of see more and more focus on that, especially in this stuff. Do you think that doing this has been easier or harder from a woman's perspective, like as being a woman, or for trying to attract women to the sport?
I don't think it has been hard to attract women to the sport. They want to do it.
Okay.
However, the learning environment had to change, because not all women, I mean, there are some badass women out there who have had no training, who have had, just like me, we just kind of scrape it and we figure it out, right? We just kind of go crazy.
Right.
We don't care what anybody thinks. But the majority of the women out there that I've come across have been incredibly intimidated. Most of them have partners who have always been the dominant driver, and they've always
Right.
wanted to do it. So getting them separate is probably the best way to give them confidence.
Like, for lack of a better phrase, like a safe space, if you will, to just kind of be able to make mistakes and not have to worry about whether or not, you're going to turn the wheel too hard and somebody's going to yell at you, or somebody's going to call you out for the really bad line.
Correct. And I do not want to stereotype men at all, and I don't want to pigeonhole them into that role, but most of the men that are out there are incredibly supportive. They just can't teach them.
I think there's a reason why those stereotypes exist. Yeah.
Well, it's in a lot of the men want to teach their wives or their girlfriends or their partners, how to wheel, or they want to share their knowledge. It's just it comes across different than when you're women. It's been a proven fact, study after study, that women learn better with other women. We're not afraid to fail. We're not afraid to screw up in front of our guys, because we're supposed to be perfect, and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But it's definitely an expanding industry. I mean, it is. The women's are starting to take off. So
No, that's awesome. I want to live and off-road in a world where there are multiple voices, getting out there and enjoying it. And I don't care what kind of vehicle you drive. I don't care what kind of, I care what kind of person you are. I do, if I'm being honest, as long as you're a good person. But I want more people out there. I want more people enjoying public lands. And the best way to do that is to teach the next generation of people that are going to get out there and do it.
absolutely.
And we don't have a lot of it. We had Matt on from On Trail Training. And actually we had the girls on from Colorado 4x4 Girls, and we talked a lot about both of those things. Is that training is now at least starting to filter down to a place where you can either go in a group and you feel, everybody feels less intimidated because you're actually doing it as a group. And then for women, and even for guys, if they wanted smaller groups, all of those things exist now, right? So it's a lot easier for people to get involved and start doing it.
Well, yeah, and the training is the most important part because a lot of people don't understand, the environmental issues. Just like in Moab, they shut down 317 miles of trail out in
Right.
Moab, and there are various reasons, but the primary reason is widening and braiding of the trails. And people don't understand why that's an issue. Well, you've got that cryptobiotic soil out there that you're crushing and you're killing, and it takes 50 to 100 years for that cryptobiotic soil to reestablish itself. That's basically like the hairspray that keeps the sand down and the plants can grow. And, I'm out there 4 days a week in Moab driving, and I could just see where people are just driving through it, just crunching this stuff up. And so I make that a very, very crucial part of just even having fun going off trail, is trying to spread that information, not just
You're right. No, you're right. It's something that irritates me. I've actually had some video, some drone video. It's gorgeous drone video of a trail here, Alyssa. The trail is Argentine Pass. Surprise, surprise. But it's gorgeous drone video, and there's an alpine lake up there that is full all year long. And I went to watch back the drone video as I got home, and I realized that there's ATV tracks through the alpine lake. And the thing is that's an alpine lake. There's no flowing water. It's just snow melt. That's never going to heal. It's not, and while that's just kind of cosmetic, it's really an example of how those kinds of impacts can stay forever. And I think a lot of the people that get into the sport aren't educated up front about those kinds of things. So classes like yours and stuff like that, I think those things are going to be they're going to be crucially important to avoid more closures going forward. If for no other reason than to say, look, we're not doing that, so you can't use it as an excuse to close trails anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know not Moab, but Utah passed I guess, I don't know what you want to call it, a law where they make everybody take this test and you have to have this permit in order to take your rigs off road.
Yeah.
I mean, it's important, but it's very hard to get it out to those people. It's like, how do you've got friends and family that are planning a trip out next weekend, and they have no idea they have to have this test because they're not doing the research. So, and then you've got one ranger for every 400 miles out there to enforce it. So it's tough. So it takes what you're doing, and what we're doing, Alyssa's doing, to just kind of spread the word and teach people.
Yeah. I mean, I think it even takes the badging system or the class system that they're using in Utah, the 10-minute course or whatever, 30-minute course that you take. I think everybody should do it. And, here in Colorado, I know if you get ATVs have to be licensed, and it's a $25.25 fee. And I think you should have to watch a 30-minute video on being responsible. And you should probably do that every year.
A lot of the dealerships need to start getting involved too, when they start selling these things, that they need to, that's just my opinion, but I know there's a whole other can of worms, but
no, see, here's the thing is, so Erica, we do a live show, and I think you should come back for one of those live shows. We should have a lively discussion about that with the group, because I think that's a huge problem. Is that there is, and I knew one of those guys that sold those things. Like, he sold me a motorcycle back in the day. And now that I think back to it, like, that guy had zero responsibility about anything. He would not, if he'd sold me an ATV, he would not have told me how to not kill myself on it. Yeah. And I think that's happening a lot. And now they're relatively inexpensive in some cases. And it's scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's see here. You, on top of classes and things like that, do you do like on trail training classes? What kind of safety stuff do you teach?
I do stationary, like in garage type of basic recovery training is what I do. That way, it's mostly ladies. I'm constantly a student. So if there's ever any classes out there, that are free right now, so I'll get a sugar daddy, taking the free classes. Yeah. So my classes are just basic off-road, but primarily recovery training, because you can get hands-on with the ropes and, the basics of the winches, basics of the high
Right.
lifts. I've never actually done an on-trail training personally. I work for Bronco Off Rodeo as one of their instructors, so I do that 4 days a week.
Okay.
But that's separate from me.
Yeah.
But
Well, and
that's
that's not to say, I think on-trail training isn't necessarily required. I think basics, I think a lot of people don't know how to use the winch. Just use the winch. Like,
yeah.
geometry at some base core level, but you don't know, if you don't know how to use the winch, you're dead in the water to start.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Yeah. But teaching people, I would love to eventually do an all ladies class, but I'm so busy. I'm always out in Moab. That schedule has become my priority, and I absolutely love it. But teaching women and people who don't know off-roading how to pick a line, how to ascend, descend, so that they don't snap their tie rods, so they don't break their 50, 60, 70. Some of them are older, $100,000 vehicles,
Mm-hmm.
and that also falls into, the environmental sympathy part, making sure that they know how to pick a line and not jump up and over and into a tree or off the cliff or, that kind of
Yeah, and if you do, like, hey, make sure that you try to contain the fluids and things like that to keep them from going places. Like
There's so much. Yeah, I mean, it's whenever I do a class, it's always a very basic introductory type class, just because I could do 3 days on a winch. I could do 3 days on basic recovery out in the dunes. You can't really cover it all in 4 hours or even 10 hours,
Well, and we've talked about it too here, is that, depending on where you're at, what you need to recover is going to be different. Here in Colorado, it's, a 4-foot winch is all I'm going to need, wherein I might need a pull pal and a couple of other tools and maybe another rig in Utah to get me out of a ditch. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's all that Myers factor, isn't it? Yeah.
Every time.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see here. Let's see. And you do what's the side that Slow Burn does with social media and kind of doing the promotional stuff? Is that a big part of what you do, or is it just kind of like an offshoot?
That pays for the dog food.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, the dogs like it. I'm sure they're good for it.
Yeah, it pays for dog food and Wi-Fi. Well, it's actually one of my favorite parts of Slow Burn, besides the women's recovery, is I like to throw like customer appreciation events, or I've had a couple customers who, wanted to do a guided trail ride. So one of my clients, for instance, Rack Stars, they hired me to put together a trail ride. We picked a trailhead based on who signed up. I do a rig inspection, make sure everybody's kind of good to go based on the trail that we're going to go on. Slaughterhouse is fairly simple. It's a great learning trail.
Yep.
Give them coffee, things like that, take them out. It's an all day thing. Then afterwards, if they want to meet for beers and burger, it just solidifies that customer experience with them. Kind of shows they've got some trail cred too. They're not just, the monkeys behind the counter taking your money. And that's a lot of fun. And then the customer appreciation events, the Christmas parties, the marketing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Social media is a lot of fun. If I can get some content from them, that's always, as you guys probably know, getting content can be kind of tough. Especially when you've got people out there that are amazing with that cell phone and they just blow you away with these really cool little videos. But yeah, that's the marketing side that pays for the dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's, I think, we're all keenly aware of how the social aspect of those things play into the success or not the success of things these days. And I tell folks all the time, the future is in being in all of the places. And social media is one of those things you just got to be there. You got to do it. So
yes, absolutely. And it's
there
hard.
are days when there are days when I hate it. Yeah, so real story. While my Jeep was down for that 6 months, it was really, really hard to produce content. Like I have 20 plus terabytes of video So like lots of drone video. Like I've done 150 full trail write-ups for Trails Off-Road and 300, plus guides overall. It's a lot of video at the end of the day, and it's all great. And I could have posted any number of it during that period of time over that 6 months, and I couldn't bring myself to do it. I just wasn't motivated to do it. And it's just the social part of it. It's just hard to do, and that's where everybody is, and the only way to get in touch with people these days. So.
Yeah, you have to have new and fresh content. We did we proved out, was it a 79 Bronco, 96 Bronco, 3 super shorties. So they were Ford F-250s, F-350s that were shortened, and they all had the 7.3 liter Godzilla swaps in them. And we took them out to the whitewash sand dunes. We took them out to Hell's Revenge. We got a ton of pictures, tons of drone footage, but that's all we had. And people were seeing these images over and over and over again. And so like the clickbait, if you will, they got bored. So they've, and these are not vehicles that you can take out all the time. So yeah, it's a matter of being creative and,
That's why I got to go repurpose a lot of that video. Like it's all relevant. It's all awesome, but I know it would bore people if I just continue to post over and over and over again without a context.
Music track to it and just, pick some AC/DC and then next week, go salt and pepper or something.
So yeah, again. So more real talk. Honestly, you probably should. I've heard from a lot of people and a lot of experts that don't use your content only once. Kind of store it and hold on to it and then reuse it again later because only part of your followers saw it. So yeah. Anyway, all right, we got off on a tangent there. I apologize. So
you it out, right?
Yeah, no, it's that was awesome. I'm leaving all that in. That was fantastic. So I got to ask, where did the nickname Three Beers come from?
Oh gosh. Well, okay.
You put it in there and you didn't say it was off limits, so I have to find out.
That's fine. So originally, my trail name was Motormouth. Actually, that was a handle that I was given when I was little because my stepdad was a truck driver. And
Nice.
I was that little girl, like constantly grabbing the microphone, going, bah, bah, bah. So I had the nickname Motormouth. I go out to the Bronco off-roading when I first got my Bronco in December of 2021. And I met this amazing guy named Kelly. He was our instructor at the time. And they were teaching me this technology that the Bronco has where you're going over these huge berms, but you're going backwards. Your feet are flat on the floor. You're not allowed to use the gas pedal nor the brake. It's called trail control. And it's a bitch in technology, but I'd never used it before. I was incredibly uncomfortable. And so we're going over these berms, and as we go over, you get cross axles. You got one tire coming up, you got the other tire coming up, completely out of my comfort zone. And we were with a group of people, and this lady was screaming, "This girl needs a shot." And I'm like, "No, I need a beer." The guy like, "No, she needs 3 beers." So I don't know. It just became this thing. So every time I go out to Bronco Off Rodeo, I am greeted by 3 Miller Lights.
That's awesome.
It's become my new trail name. And then, of course, my rig is named Shelby because I am a Ford girl. Sorry. My ex-husband and I had some Shelby GTs and some Boss 302s that we used to race out in Willow Springs. So I put a big gold stripe down my Bronco and named her Shelby.
My wife has a Camaro. She would love it. Boys. That's awesome. Well, that's kind of what I figured. I don't feel like a nickname like Three Beers comes from what's the phrase I'm looking for? A high moment, if you will. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's definitely one of those things where it came out of a challenging moment.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You have no idea. That was terrifying. Absolutely terrifying to let the truck drive itself, getting cross axled and going backwards at the same time. I would say I need 4 beers next time.
Some of that new technology is insane. I posted I posted an article on our blog about like autonomous technology because they're already using it in like Caterpillars and like the big rigs because it's a slow environment. It's relatively easy for the computers to read and adjust and make, and change to. And then I started going down the rabbit hole only to find out that last year Jeep was testing Cherokees with autonomous technology in Moab. And so it's there. It's already here, like that kind of the trail controls, like that first start, right? That's just the piece that controls the speed. The next piece is like hands off the wheel. I don't know if I like that. Like I kind
Not
of that's
Moab. I couldn't even imagine that because the terrain is changing constantly. I mean, I know
yeah.
that the traction control system and all that, the terrain control system will read those tires like 60 times per second and send that information back. But
Yeah.
that only controls the braking, maybe a little
Oh
bit.
yeah, this would have to be like a Tesla level experience where you're getting full steering and full gas and brake
It's not
control.
even fun. That is not
And at
even.
that point, yeah, I don't even think it's fun. Like
Yeah.
well, that was the thing. I was reading about it. And I'm like, well, why? Like, I get why you might want to test like a Grand Cherokee in a really challenging environment so that it works in a regular environment. I kind of understand that piece of it. I think my concern is the same that a lot of people have. A lot of the the technology that came out, like lockers and automatic and e-lockers, where people like, was that too much out of the box ability? Is that, and I just like the next step of that is just completely autonomous driving around Moab, and I also don't see why that would be fun, but it feels like they're headed in that direction.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe in Tennessee where the lands are a little flatter, Florida maybe, but I couldn't imagine that even being fun out there.
I wouldn't trust it on a shelf, and yeah, I wouldn't trust it on a shelf road, and I couldn't imagine it being fun. I like being connected to the road I'm driving.
Yeah, yeah, and it takes a lot of well, it takes a lot of quick decisions. Well, I guess the computer would think of it quicker, but I don't know. Don't like it.
I don't think it's one of those things where, like, if I were incapacitated or in some way, or if somebody needed to drive that isn't regularly used to it, like that would make sense to me. Outside of that, I feel like it takes away from the sport a little bit, but maybe I'm just kind of turning into the old man that yells at the cloud. I don't know.
No. Get off my lawn. No, that makes no sense being out there. Not at all.
All right. Well, what kind of stuff you got going on in the future for Soulburn? Obviously, you said you're spending a lot of time in Moab. Is that mostly trail guiding?
Yes, it's inspection.
Okay.
That's primarily what I do right now. I'm obsessed with it, so I haven't been giving slow burn a lot of my attention. I keep up with the marketing and the media. This summer is going to probably be busy. I do
Okay.
work at trade shows, like I'm going to go to SEMA again, and things like that. But I haven't really been pushing the business all that much. I'm greatly happy.
See, I told you he was going to finally chime in. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I haven't been pushing too much for that. I mean, I would love to do more urban marketing events. That would be a lot of fun. Just to get to know a lot of people and the trail guides for those companies, that would be great. But it's a work in progress.
I know it's a big focus of mine to get out there to the events more this year, as for some reason people like us as a whole. Alyssa, they like you. Erica, I'm sure they like you based on your feedback that they keep coming back to you. And I gotta get out there more and do it more. It's painful sometimes. I hate being social.
Well, I have a social battery that gets depleted fairly quickly, which is one of the reasons why I like being in the off-road industry, because it's usually fairly small groups that are manageable.
Yeah. And even then you kind of get you get breaks, right? Like if you get in a trail ride with a bunch of people, there's a half an hour interaction, and then you get a half an hour in your vehicle. Then there's another half an hour of interaction, you get a half an hour in your vehicle. It's kind of nice.
And nobody rides with me. I always have people who want to ride with me. I'm weird that way. I prefer to drive alone. It was probably why I'm still single. But yeah.
I mean,
Like
here's the
it.
thing. When those of us who have two doors are saying something very specific to the world around us,
Yeah.
we don't have room for you, and we're not going to make it for you. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Next needs to lay down for the dogs on my recovery box. Oh my
Exactly.
God.
See, the dog knows what you're talking. He's like, "Are we going out? Let's go out. Yeah, let's do this." That's awesome. All right. So trail riding. Where can folks go and check out? Do you have a schedule, or how do they get in touch with you?
Just via email. They can go to my website. They can contact me. Most people contact me on Facebook and Instagram. They just kind of reach out, let me know, when they're in the area, if they could tag along on a ride, or if they can plan something. I've had several people plan. Did the Nevada Pass through Primitive Pass up to the sand dunes. You could plan something like that. That's so much fun. You know,
Like, what's your favorite trail out of the stuff that you've done so far? And how long? I'm sorry, let me back up. Quick question: how long have you been wheeling in
oh
general?
gosh. So my parents were involved in four wheeling. My dad was in the Jeep Club, the Blazer Club when I was born.
Hmm.
So I was that little rug rat running around the campground, you know, getting daddy a beer and handing him the flashlight and things like that. They were nudists too, so we went all sorts of crazy places.
You know
So
what? There's been a lot of references to nudity on the show, and it has nothing to do with any of our hosts so far. I'm kind of surprised by that. That's
just saying my parents were. It was, you know, it was the 70s and 80s, so they were.
we'll keep up appearances for the show, Erica. You go ahead and do that. We got
Yes,
you.
I mean, as soon as I could reach the pedals, you know, my dad taught me how to drive it. I pulling logs on the beach. Just we moved so much, all those different environments. You know, playing in the mud, and then you know, Tennessee was super fun. You know,
Yeah,
driving
I could
along.
see that.
Yeah, driving along the Tennessee River after a big rain or a flood. You know, you're just driving along, all of a sudden the person in front of you disappears in a pothole. Um, where this day was usually a Toyota.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah, that was a lot of fun. So yeah, I've been doing it since I was little.
Okay.
I did take a break for a long time to play mommy and stay in the corporate world, but I always had friends who wheeled and they let me get muddy with them. It was mostly rock crawling. But yeah,
Okay. So, so the list I'm looking at here is complete. We got California, Florida, Tennessee, Colorado, and Utah. Is that a pretty decent list of the places you've been?
that's where where I've lived.
Out
Lived
of
and
all of
created.
those places, what would be your favorite trail?
Oh boy.
I love asking this one because it really puts people in a weird spot.
It's not
And then
fair.
like, oh, it's not fair. I know. Like, all right, so like, give me like one of the ones in like your top three. Then like, you don't have to make it a serious commitment here today.
I would say not just for the trail, but for the camaraderie and how much I learned. Because I hurt my little baby Bronco. It was on Canes Creek out in Utah.
Oh, okay.
I got a little squeeze on a couple of those places. I blew a bead. The entire vehicle just took a crap. And just the yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was the only sixth gen amongst all of these old wheelers, and the girl to top it off. It was an amazing trail, and it was an amazing group of men. It was the Utah Bronco Club. They were just badasses. They came out, they winched me from the front, winched me from the back, high lifted my tire, blew my tire back on the bead with some, what is that, the fluid? I forget. I'm not
Oh,
thinking.
really? Oh, that's a fun trick.
Tire fluid
Yeah.
or something like that. You know, hardwired the rig, just like completely took it off of the battery and put it back on because my rig just completely freaked out. She just like all the bells and whistles were going off. And these guys, of course, were laughing at me. And I didn't know what to do. But yeah, it was awesome. Those old school guys out there are just amazing. I've learned so much from them. And so yeah, Kings Creek is probably one of my top three. Argentine Pass is also one of my favorite. Anything
Argentine's my favorite.
off of Buena Vista, Salida is stunning. It'll rattle your feelings, but it's stunning.
That's yeah, no kidding. Yeah, at some point our listeners will get tired of hearing about Argentine Pass, but it is one of my favorite. It was the first trail I mapped for our Trails Off Road, and it is. If I don't get there at least once every summer, I feel unwhole, and I'll spend time at that summit, man. Like just
Yeah,
sitting up there, it's gorgeous. Like you just
there's a
see
lake.
so far.
Yeah, I usually
Well,
carry a fishing pole with me, so whenever I go anywhere, I always search for a little body of water.
yeah,
Like,
I really wish. What are those little trails down there? Chihuahua Gulch. I really wish that one still went to the lake, but it stops short, and I can't hike that far. So I can see the lake from the top of Argentine. It looks gorgeous.
mhm. Yeah, night rides down through there are a lot of fun. Like the gulches are a lot of fun up in Colorado Springs. I love doing
Yeah.
a lot of night rides and snow rides.
So you have to let me know when you do a night ride. I got an ass ton of lights. Pardon my French. Um, I got a I got an ass ton of lights right before the Jeep went into the shop system in July of last year, and I haven't had a chance to use them. So this will be the year of the night runs for JD. So
So
I
you're
want to
gonna
do Slaughterhouse at night. I know it's fun to do at night. I did it
oh,
once a few years
yeah,
ago.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, I only have a couple lights, but that's all I need because I usually have a ton of people in front of me and a ton of people behind me.
I have enough to do Argentine at night by myself. And I think that's the goal. So I want to be able to be up there and feel like I'm not going to fall off the side of the cliff, you know.
You're not
I
supposed
mean,
to do it alone.
I know. We've talked about it a lot on the show. If you're going to wheel alone, you make sure you're prepared. I take a satellite messenger, 3 days worth of food and water. There's a lot of stuff that I prepare for just for those kinds of runs. Especially if we're going to be in the backcountry. Like we went to Utah a couple years, the year before last, and we were out in the middle of nowhere for a couple of days. And it was real important that I made sure that we had some sort of connectivity and people know where we were, etc. So, and I don't recommend wheeling by yourself for newbies. And I don't do things like hack it in the middle of the night or by myself, those kinds of things. Well, I really don't. I don't think I'd want to do hack it in the middle of the night just because it's a weird area. Let's just leave it at that.
I actually teach journey essentials too, so that's really important.
I'm very careful about how I portray solo wheeling, and I'm very careful about the caveats that come with it. If you're going to do it, because the reality is that there's going to be a certain percentage of people that go out by themselves no matter what. So if you're going to do it, go prepared. And something that I read in an article today that reminded me, if you do have an accident or something, you're going to be a burden. So just keep that in mind. So make sure that you have prepared yourself as much as possible so that if somebody has to come, pull you out of a ditch, you can say, I did as much as I could to prepare and prevent this situation. Mm-hmm. So anyway,
sure.
All right. So that's a good one to have, though. Like it's a good conversation to have on a regular basis because I know people are going out there by themselves because I see them when I'm out there by myself. I see them by themselves. And Erica, I feel like we've taken up enough of your time today. If you are listening to the show, please visit Erica's website. It's slowburnoffroad.com. Correct?
SLOBUR, no W.
No W. Drop the W. Check out Slow Burn Off-Road. Drop the W. I'll do that one more time for you. Hey, look, it's marketing. Hey, I got my yellow JK license plates. I know what I'm doing over here.
Nice.
So one more time, that is Slow Burn Off-Road without the W. But check out her site, get a hold of Erica, get yourself a trail ride here in Colorado. If you're visiting us, I would highly recommend something like heading out with Erica because I see too many folks out. In fact, Argentine, I remember running into a group of 3 rented Jeeps that had no business being on shelf roads by themselves.
Yeah.
And it's important. Like if you're going to be safe out there, guys, just be safe. Like we just need it. So find people like Erica. If you're in Colorado or in the Colorado area, get a hold of Erica at slowburnoffroad.com. And thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming on the show, Erica.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Alyssa, thank you for being here tonight. And then we will see you on the next show. So thank you all very much for listening, and we'll see you next time at the Trailhead.